I'm in the middle of a pretty big snowstorm. We got 4 inches, and if you ask me, that's more than enough. Honestly, that's too much. And all this snow got me thinking of the snowiest horror movies, and naturally, The Shining came to mind. This is easily one of the most known horror movies of all time, and some even regard it as one of the greatest. But when it first came out, it wasn't looked at in that well of light. Even the author of the novel this is based off of, Stephen King, you might have heard of him, isn't even a fan of this Stanley Kubrick adaptation of his novel. In fact, it was even nominated for having the worst actress and worst director. Dang, y'all gonna do Shelley Duvall like that after reportedly going through what they say is the most scenes ever in a movie at 127 times it took them to film the baseball bat scene. She supposedly went through the absolute trenches filming this movie, and some say she actually went through psychological torture, but others chalk it down to Kubrick's hard work and determination to capture the perfect shot. Shelley Duvall said she holds no grudges against Kubrick, and he actually taught her what she thinks of as some of the most valuable lessons in her whole career. I was gonna make a joke about how the money makes it all worth it, but apparently she was only paid scale plus 10%. And to be honest, I had no idea what that meant, but upon further research, it essentially means she was paid the minimum pay plus 10%, which is usually given to the agent. So she was really just paid the minimum pay for her extreme work in this film. And she's truly a trooper for that, so mad respect, Shelley, and rest in peace. This movie always stuck out to me as being diverse and having so many different subgenres in one movie, making it almost perfect for anyone who likes horror just the tiniest of bit. So there really is something here for everyone to enjoy, from the most shallow horror fan who has only seen The Thing to the deepest, darkest corners of Reddit, where every frame from Sharknado is dissected by a naked man in his parents' basement. Also, Tony says there will be spoilers, so go watch the movie for yourself if you haven't already before continuing this video, unless, of course, you don't. But anyways, this is one of those movies with an almost cult following, so we better get into it before I get my IP threatened. This movie starts with some beautiful shots of some mountains and whatnot with some nice creepy music to let you know this isn't a normal Stanley Kubrick film. Oh, no. This is a horror movie. Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance gets into a meeting with the manager of the Overlook Hotel, Stuart Ullman, who wants to offer Jack the job of overlooking the Overlook Hotel for the winter. And this dude Stuart over here being way too suspicious kind of reminded me of a used car salesman. You know, we're selling it for $20,000, but I'll give it to you for $15 since you seem like a pretty cool dude, and don't check the Carfax, wink wink.
He killed his family with an axe.
Jack doesn't seem to mind the oil leak and failing transmission on the deal, and he's actually stoked to use the quiet hotel time to work on his books and other author stuff that authors do. Jack breaks the news to his wife Wendy and son Danny since they will be staying at the hotel with him, but there's just one small issue. Tony doesn't want to go.
I don't want to call them Mrs. Torrance.
Tony is Danny's little friend who lives inside his head and allows him to foreshadow events in the future, as we see with some of the most iconic shots in this movie of the bloody hotel elevator and those creepy twin ghost girls. Understandably, those visions make Danny tweak out, and his mom calls the doctor, who comes to check out Danny's carrot intake before learning some lore about the family, with Wendy saying that Jack came home drunk one night and injured Danny's arm about 5 months prior. But hey, that's really no biggie.
My husband just used too much strength and he injured Danny's arm.
I guess it was worth the sacrifice since Jack hasn't drank alcohol since the incident. Wendy, you know dang well Jack's sneaking that flask and grabbing him a shower beer when you're not looking. Jack, Wendy, and Danny head over to the Overlook Hotel to get the rundown and tour from the manager, as we get a shot of this huge and creepy looking hotel that we'll be spending the rest of the movie in. Then they go outside to see the huge field of hedges made into a maze and the snowmobile, which will be coming into play later. While Danny is slamming bullseyes on the dartboard, he is ecstatic to see himself a set of twin girls the same age as him. Okay, Danny. But oh no, those are the creepy ghost girls from your vision, aren't they, Danny?
No.
Oh, my fault. I meant Tony. Jack and Wendy head into the party room with all that alcohol, baby.
We don't drink.
Yeah, okay. Whatever you say, Jack. They then meet the chef's Dick. Oh no, there was supposed to be a comma in there, wasn't there? Dick Halloran shows Wendy and Danny the large assortment of foods and desserts that can be had during their stay in the hotel, and they got it all.
You folks have eat up here a whole year and never had the same menu twice.
Danny then gets another foreshadowing vision of Dick asking him if he wants ice cream, which we see come to fruition a few minutes later.
How'd you like some ice cream, Doc? You like ice cream, Doc?
Yeah.
I thought you did.
During their dessert, Dick and Doc, which sounds like a 90s sitcom name, share their ability to talk brain to brain, and Dick says he did it all the time with his grandma.
She called it shiny.
Danny tells him how Tony says the Overlook Hotel is nothing to play with, and Dick admits it isn't the greatest place ever.
I think a lot of things happened right here in this particular hotel over the years. And not all of them was good.
Danny has one more question from Tony, and it's, what's the deal with room 237? Dick poops his pants a little after that question and tells Danny to stay out of room 237 no matter what.
Stay out.
We cut to a month later where we see Danny
Rolling down the street in my big wheel, sipping on apple juice.
Also Jack doing a whole lot of nothing, just playing with balls and staring at the hedge maze diagram, which Danny and Wendy are in right now. Now cut to Tuesday, where we see good old Jack finally getting some work done when his wife comes over for a lovely conversation with her husband and some inspiring words.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, well sorry Jack. Meanwhile, little Doc is on his big wheel cruising past room 237, and he almost decides to check it out for a second and see what good old Mr. Tony was talking about. Oh yeah, I'm with you, Danny. Time to get up on out of there. Now it's Thursday and a snowstorm is starting to brew, and Jack isn't looking so good either. It's now Saturday and the phone lines have gone out from the snowstorm, so Wendy hops on the radio and just chats with the police.
Boy, this storm is really something, isn't it? Over.
Wow, do you know how bored you have to be to just spark up a weather conversation with the cops? Danny's not that bored though, as he bikes right into the ghost girls once again.
Come and play with us, Stanley.
Danny doesn't think his bike would make it through all the, blood and the axe on the floor, so he decides to decline their offer. Danny goes to see his dad, who has started going off the rails a little and is starting to sound like the Ghost Twins a little bit.
I wish we could stay here forever and ever.
After the convo, Danny heads into room 237 while his dad is having a dream about being in a war or something. Dang, boy, that's either some crazy top or you're having a dream about murdering your family. There's no in between.
I dreamed that I killed you and Danny.
Oh, it was the second one. Danny comes down to his parents with a bruise on his neck, and Wendy blames Jack before running away with Danny, and this makes Jack pretty angry, so he does some footloose dancing in the hallway to take his anger out. He sits at the bar and sees a ghost, Lloyd, who pours him a drink as he complains about his wife before she comes running in to tell Jack that Danny was hurt by a woman in room,
Which room was it?
Oh yeah, of course. Jack goes to investigate where he sees something he likey. But when he goes to kiss the young woman, she's actually all old and decaying. Ugh, nasty booty. Then we see a Dick. Oh, I'm sorry, we see Dick. When he has one of those brain-on-brain connections, and it don't look so good. Oh no, that don't look so good either, Danny. He's also having one of these as he sees redrum and the bloody elevators once again. Jack comes back to Wendy and says he didn't see anything in room 237. But come on, Jack, first the alcohol, now room 237. I don't think we can believe you about anything anymore. Wendy says it's time to go, and Jack couldn't agree more.
Wendy, I have let you fuck up my life so far, but I am not gonna let you fuck this up.
Oh wait, maybe I read that wrong. Jack storms out to see the hotel is having a party, and Lloyd says drinks are on the house. Let's go! Oh no. The waiter helps Jack to the restroom to clean up the mess, and wait.
You, chopped your wife and daughter up into little bits. And, then you blew your brains out.
The axe murderer guy says Jack has always been the caretaker, and he has always been there at the hotel. And that takes Jack a little bit to render the information, and he then tells Jack that Danny is trying to get Dick to the hotel and he needs to correct him, just like he corrected his daughters. But he leaves out the axe part. And what about your wife, sir?
I corrected her.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Jack unplugs the hotel radio. Jack corrects the hotel radio, all while Wendy attends to Danny, who is now screaming.
Redrum!
Danny, what's the matter, hon?
Redrum!
But that's not Danny anymore.
Danny's not here, Mrs. Torrance.
After Dick's calls fail, he hops on a plane, and then he grabs a snowmobile to head to the hotel to make sure everyone's alright. Now Wendy grabs a bat to make sure her husband is done with all the tomfoolery, but he's nowhere to be found. His book is there though, and she checks out his work to see, bro, this dude is writing like that one SpongeBob essay. Jack isn't worried about the book and instead wants to know Wendy's plans for raising Danny.
I think you have some very definite ideas about what should be done with Danny, and I'd like to know what they are.
She says he needs a doctor, but at this point, I don't think Jack really cares. I don't know, he just seems a little off. Maybe he's like sick or something. He slowly backs her up the stairs, slowly getting more aggressive. But he says he wants the bat and he won't hurt her.
I'm just gonna bash your brains in.
There you go again, lying, Jack. Have you not heard The Boy Who Cries Wolf? After missing about 20 swings, Wendy finally hits Jack on the head with the bat and he falls down the stairs before she drags him into the pantry and locks him in there. And then she grabs her a knife. She tells Jack she and Danny are going home, but he already corrected the snowmobile, so she's all out of luck. Now it's 4 p.m. and Jack wakes up from his short head trauma nap and has a convo with the crazy axe ghost man.
I fear you will have to deal with this matter in the harshest possible way, Mr. Torrance.
The ghost man isn't just gonna let Jack be locked in the pantry all day though, so he unlocks the door for him. Dick gets closer in his snowmobile and Danny is still tweaking out, grabbing a knife and writing redrum on the door in lipstick. Oh come on Wendy, you're telling me you haven't noticed redrum is murder backwards? At this point, it's on you. Jack starts axing his way into the room, so Wendy and Danny head into the bathroom, where Danny is small enough to fit out the window and escape. Oh yeah, that's gotta be fun. Come on now. A snow slide? Wendy can't fit through the window, so she posts up in the corner with her knife as Jack axes away at the door. And now it's time for the most iconic scene in this movie, and maybe even in horror altogether.
Here's Johnny!
Wendy slices Jack's hand as they hear Dick's snowplow pull up. Jack hides around the corner as Dick calls out when he comes into the empty hotel. Imagine how scary that would be walking into this empty hotel after having that terrifying vision and just calling out and only hearing echoes. Like personally, I'd bring a weapon. Hey, I told y'all I would have brought a weapon. Jack chases Danny, who has made his way back into the hotel now, while Wendy is running around seeing all types of Overlook hotel shenanigans. Yo, is that a bear? And guys, I have a confession to make. I am actually the bear from The Shining.
Great party, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'll just take the elevator. Tony did try to warn you, Wendy. Jack chases Danny into the snow and into the hedge maze, but Danny is smarter than his pops and covers up his tracks to confuse Jack, and he runs out following his footprints after Jack gets lost in the maze. Danny makes it to his mom, and they hop in Dick's snowmobile and escape the Jack attack at the Overlook Hotel as Jack stays lost in the snowy maze and freezes to death. The movie ends with a zoom in of a picture in the hotel of Jack in the middle of a ball party dated from 1921. Proving that the crazy Axeman was right. Jack has always been the caretaker at the Overlook Hotel. It is no secret that The Shining is one of the most celebrated horror movies of all time, and some even consider it the best of all time. There is no denying the greatness of the movie and the lasting effects it has had on the horror community. I believe the reason for this is the diversity. Lovers of horror all have their favorite subgenres, and when a movie tackles those subgenres in the correct way, those movies will easily be some of the favorites of those fans of the subgenres. And I believe that The Shining can't be placed in just one subgenre of horror, but many at that. The ones that stand out to me and are the most important in this movie is the psychological and paranormal subgenres. These are arguably two of the most popular and intriguing subgenres, with one having to do with an absolute fact in this world and something that exists, and another being a matter of opinion. Some believe it, some do not, but it still scares them deep down. So when you pair these two subgenres together into one film, it feels like the perfect blend for a horror movie. On one hand, we have Jack, who is mentally losing it all and becoming unstable in this hotel and seeing hallucinations and seeing people, and they tell him to do terrible things to his family. We know some of the things seen are for sure only in Jack's head, like when Jack is talking to Lloyd and getting a drink at the bar, but when Wendy comes running in, there's no bartender to be seen. On the other hand, we have the paranormal side of this movie with the ghost girls and all the other things seen in this hotel by Danny, Jack, and Wendy. Some say these are hallucinations in the hotel, but we know for sure that these are paranormal elements, as Mr. Grady, or the crazy Axeman, the ghost of him, unlocks the pantry and lets Jack out to go try to finish off his family. The use of these two subgenres are able to capture the attention of two different sides of horror and blend them together for a movie that everyone can love. The supernatural element of the Overlook Hotel causes Jack to go insane, and then that introduces the psychological part of this movie, with Jack not knowing what is real and what is simply his imagination. In my opinion, these two features allows for an almost perfect movie and one for everyone to enjoy, and it's no question why this is highly regarded as one of the greatest movies of all time. Please let me know y'all thoughts on this video and on this movie as a whole. I know there are a ton of conspiracies and theories that go into this movie, and they go pretty deep and they get pretty crazy. So drop them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Please drop a like and hit that subscribe button, or you will have no choice but to be the next caretaker at the Overlook Hotel. Thank y'all so much for watching, and have a blessed day. Peace.